plan to clone the entire gaming industry. Boys, we have entered the HoYoVerse. We have entered the HoYoVerse. Why make a good game when we can just clone it, make it worse, but put big titty women in it and people will still buy that shit?
From indie to AAA, China is set to clone the entire gaming industry.
What the was that? What was that Hearthstone clone? Clone Sleeping Dragon. Bro, that is the same game. Also, GTA Saints Row. What the fuck? Isn't that... Is Saints Row Chinese?
Gaming industry. Everyone clones and copies a bit, but while the West does it quietly, China does it strategically.
Oh, absolutely, bro. You know what's crazy? There's more American flags made in China than there is in the USA. That's fucking wild, isn't it?
To dominate the global gaming world. But cloning your way to power comes at a cost. I'll uncover their three-part cloning strategy.
Hey, you want to know why? It's because China's #1.
Why they clone instead of create, and their unspoken tactic that might be their real key to global dominance.
What the?
Remember the buzz around Palworld for ripping off Pokemon?
Yeah.
Well, now
Tencent,
China's gaming giant, is openly cloning it to incubate their next big hit. And Palworld's maker calls this amazing times. So while the West cries rip-off, in China, it's just another day at the office. And I'll show you how they...
Good! Fuck it! Hey, I'll be real. I got no issues. This is the Ludwig method. The yoink and twist. Take what somebody else does, do it easier, and improve upon it. Who cares?
Do it. But first...
By giving every game big old titties.
When I think of China, I think of...
the best country in the world.
Sorry, I just couldn't do a video about China and not mention my boy Jackie Chan, who, by the way, was the face of the Learning Machine. The top Nintendo clone back when importing consoles was way too expensive. And Jackie came with a keyboard to not only play, but learn through games like Letters Invaders. Now, I'm bringing this up because the company behind the Learning Machine recently went bankrupt, thanks to China's chaotic laws. And to understand their game making, let's first understand their lawmaking, which in China can change overnight. You see, games must be government approved to make sure...
I think the best law that China ever came up with was in gacha games, you cannot nerf a character post-release. That is my favorite thing ever. Because the fact that these fucking dumbass devs try to do that shit is ridiculous. That is legit like selling someone a burger and then it missing the patty and say, oh yeah, well we swapped. We don't sell meat anymore. It's like, okay, it's a great law.
Their cultural fit. From detailed game descriptions
Blizzard,
to source codes, the government checks everything.
I remember that Blizzard would play Hearthstone and they would release cards like Dr. Boom. And then they would nerf Dr. Boom and then refund you for Dr. Boom. And they say, oh yeah, it's fine. But what they're not doing is refunding all of the cards that you pulled and built in order to make your Dr. Boom deck. So it's like, do you not understand how that is so fraudulent? It is so bad. It is so fucking bad.
Games are dubbed opium of the mind. But when a regulatory shift kicked in, the government froze all game approvals for an entire year. Big games were blocked from making sales, causing huge financial losses and many new rules. Real ID registration, facial scans, and limited gaming hours for kids.
我9点就睡了呀，玩着玩着半夜，你说我玩过半夜吗？
The first freeze ended, but a second freeze dropped the number of approvals even more. Today, game approvals continue, albeit very slowly. And to top it off, China had a 15-year-long ban on gaming consoles to crack down on gaming. But when the economy struggled, they lifted the ban to cash in on the gaming industry. Suddenly, China was ready for the Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox, which meant the end for many local clone makers. And so, Keyboard Jackie disappeared, and with it, the childhood memories of many Chinese. This nutshell version shows China's unpredictable lawmaking. But there's way more than just red tape.
Does anybody still play Xbox in 2024? I mean, I don't know, man. The idea that people actually play on consoles blows my fucking mind. I've had this PC for like 12 years, and bro, I'm just like, hey, if it's a console exclusive, yeah, I'm just not gonna play it. You know, like, I'm good. I'm gonna just play on my PC because it's the greatest thing to ever happen to humanity. Yeah, I'm good, man, pass.
So to grasp their cloning strategy, we need to rewind a bit further, and I'll make it quick. So let's start here, with Mao's death.
Oh,
That's
fuck.
when China flipped from ideology to economy, sparking the chaotic period of gaming, unregulated, free-for-all, and flooded with unlicensed copies. The first Chinese PC game was pretty much a monopoly.
Although I will admit, people who haven't played Bloodborne, I feel very, very, very bad for them. That's pretty much the only console exclusive that I feel like everybody should play.
Knockoff.
But it'll be imported to PC soon, guys, trust me.
A year later, China's first RPG entered the scene. In the formation period, regulations popped up but didn't keep players from cloning. Shanda's The World of Legend cloned a Korean game, and Tencent's first game portal looked strikingly similar to another. But why did China, once famous for its world-changing innovations, become infamous for its imitators?
What the fuck was that
boils down
Obama
to their view
KFC?
of knowledge. You see, knowledge is seen as public good and trumps personal ideas. As a Chinese official once wrote,
Obama
Chinese
fried
learn
chicken?
for substance, Westerners for application. In other words, use foreign knowledge to boost national power, whether it's military equipment or architecture. That's why a Chinese developer replicated Zaha Hadid's design before her project was even complete. When called out, he
That's
claimed,
insane.
"I never meant to copy, just to surpass." And here, dear viewers, lies the stark contrast. As a Chinese journalist notes, Americans have hope, while we have targets. But it's not just about targets. In China, it's
about Walmart.
reaching them fast. Many of you nailed it in my community post. China clones for fast market capture. It's more complex than this, but whether it's quickly capturing a market, cultural influence, or lax legalities, speed is key. And that's why during the development period, China's gaming industry exploded. Online gaming, loot boxes, and microtransactions became the new gold rush, with giants launching games even on entirely homegrown 3D engines. In the expansion period, China became the largest gaming population in the world, and today, in the maturing period,
No
the
VTubers.
largest gaming market in the world. With Chinese gaming giants topping the revenue charts, it rightfully earned the title Games Industry Capital of the World. Now, before I show their cloning strategy, I want to get things straight. Who does not clone? East or West, we all do it. Games have always been copied. When Doom set the template for FPS, most FPS games were dubbed Doom clones. Same with Diablo clones.
That's everything.
Candy
That's
Crush
every game
ripped
ever.
off Bejeweled, which ripped off Diamond Mine.
Yep.
Paladin mirrored Overwatch.
Yep.
Saints Row GTA, and PUBG walked so Fortnite could run.
True.
I mean, that's how genres are born.
And you know what's crazy? Hot take. I still think PUBG is the best battle royale ever, man. There's no battleground that has better gunplay than PUBG, bro. When you can snipe someone 900 yards away with a Car 98K, oh my God, it's so good. Now, Fortnite is more fun for more people, but dude, if you're part of PUBG's niche fan base, oh my God, it's so fucking fun. I love it.
However, there's a thin line between enhancing a concept and outright theft. America's most notorious clone company is probably Zynga. A while back, EA sued
And they stole that from Sheldon, Bazinga. It's just blatant at this point.
them over the bill for ripping off The Sims Social.
Oh.
As soon as EA released Restaurant City, Zynga released Cafe World with striking resemblance. The fun part, Farmville, the game that put Zynga on the map, that too is just a rehash of Chinese game Happy Farm.
What? Farmville was so good, bro. They stole from China. Oh, that's why I hate Americans. China #1.
Which itself is a rehash of Japan's Harvest Moon. Or check out
How the fuck is Happy Farm like Harvest Moon? No, it ain't. What the fuck?
Deviator from a
It's like when people say Viva Pinata is like Animal Crossing. No, it fucking isn't. They're so different.
Chinese studio. From UI to mechanics, Deviator doesn't seem to deviate too far from its inspiration.
Fair.
And then there's piano tiles.
What the fuck? What? Bro, is that a fucking crab demon playing that shit? What is wrong with their hand?
No, I have not sped up the video, but this Chinese hit game spawned so many knockoffs, this lady didn't need long to prove her point.
Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be tier listing a bunch of piano tiles ripoffs. Alright, so I went to the app store and searched up piano tiles and
my
downloaded as
God.
many as I could find. And then I realized that the list would pretty much never end, there's way too many, and I think this one page, 30 of them is enough.
You see, we all
What
do it to some
the
extent.
fuck?
But while the West does it subtly, China does it aggressively for 3 reasons. Number 1, pressure. In a blog titled, "How I Put Together a Game Map That You'll Despise," a Chinese designer shows how to clone a game map quickly, saying, "Plagiarizing is an art in itself. If you think I shouldn't be a designer, then sorry, but I'll continue to be one to make a living."
Dude, I'm telling you, man, once China starts utilizing more AI, we're going to be getting infinite games. We're going to have a new battle royale every week. Infinite games, boys. They're coming.
Yes, in China, studios push for super fast turnarounds, no time for innovating. And meanwhile, Western studios, they take their sweet, sweet time.
Yep.
But doesn't China have copyright laws? Well, which brings us to the second reason, lax copyright laws. Many think China lacks them, but they have them, very similar to the US. They just aren't enforced as strictly. Look at this. Game mechanics and ideas, not protected in either country. Art and graphics, protected in both, barely enforced in China. Story and text, enforced in the US, loose in China. Same with sound and music.
Loosey-goosey?
So why work on new ideas if anyone can just copy them faster than you can say copyright infringement? Blizzard's Hearthstone, for example, was cloned within a few months of its release.
Oh my
Sleeping
God.
Dragon doesn't just look similar, it looks and sounds identical.
It's the same
Blizzard
game.
sued them and walked away with $2 million. Or take Honor of Kings, China's top mobile game.
Breath of the Wild
Its
and
maker
Genshin.
Tencent
Isn't that
faces
just League?
numerous lawsuits, especially with this one, which cloned almost everything from game design to characters and even marketing tactics.
What the fuck?
Marketing tactics?
It's better?
May even be,
Really?
protected?
I never heard of Honor of Kings.
I don't know. But check this out. NetEase, Blizzard's Chinese partner, sued for an Overwatch clone and walked away with $500,000, but only to be sued by PUBG Corp, as NetEase created two mobile games very similar to PUBG on PC.
PUBG, Knives Out. PUBG, Rules of Survival. PUBG, Cyber Hunter.
So if everyone clones and sues everyone, why can't Western studios do the same?
Yeah.
Forget about it. Just forget about it. Which leads to the third reason, legal inaction. It's nearly impossible for foreign studios to enforce their rights in China. The legal system often favors local firms anyways, and even if you win, it might not even be worth the cost. When Tekken's 3 training mode was patented worldwide, including China, it didn't take long for a Chinese fighting game to ignore the patent and feature a strikingly similar mode. Enforcements in China are hit.
Am I the only person here who's thinking this is kind of based of China? You know, it's probably bad for the corporations, but I'll be real, man. The more games I get, the better. I kind of don't care, you know? I kind of don't fucking care, like, to be honest.
Or miss. But their 3-part cloning strategy isn't. Because if they're good at something, it's at monitoring. In the monitoring stage, it's all about observing global gaming trends and adapting them to China's strict regulations.
Oh, dude, I monitor game trends every single day. That's why I'm always correct on every single game. I'm like, yeah, this game is going to be this successful. This game will be this successful. This will be the next game. Skip that game, doesn't matter. I'm really good at this shit.
You see, many foreign games in China are banned because they don't pass the cultural test. Blood, nudity, extreme violence, all a no-go.
Yep.
Sleeping Dogs, for instance, didn't pass the test because it took place in Hong Kong.
Lame as fuck.
Shenmue 3 also didn't because
That's the only thing that I don't like about Chinese regulation laws is they need to let us fuck the characters in the game. And they need to let more, like, graphic shit happen. You know, like arms ripped off, heads ripped off, like fucking anything that moves, you know? Like, that's what I think they should let us do to make the game better.
Real-life Chinese locations. Hoppu Games showed a red effect around the icons, which is the color of blood. And Pokemon Go didn't pass because Google Maps is banned. But Let's Hunt Monsters filled the gap quite nicely. Now here's where it gets interesting. How do you identify breakout genres? Well, according to their strategy, genres tend to emerge every 6 years. From FPS to MMORPGs to MOBA and Battle Royale. And by tracking Steam tags...
Well, then where the fuck is 2023? Is that auto chess?
They can monitor genres with global breakout potential to ensure they are at the forefront. Which leads us to stage 2, cloning. Once they spot a breakout genre, they quickly clone and test them. In case of a small hit, they double down through strategic partnerships. When MOBA and Battle Royale emerged, notice how Tencent acquired Riot Games and secured PUBG mobile rights. They then rolled out Honor of Kings, which is basically League of Legends, and tailored it for Chinese players on mobile. And when NetEase released mega-hit game Eggy Party, a Fall Guys clone, Tencent redirected
Eggy
hundreds of
Party?
devs from working on Assassin's Creed Jade to their own party game, Dreamstar. No wonder Assassin's
What the
Creed Jade
fuck
is
is
delayed
that?
to 2025, because the party
How
game
have I not
genre
played that?
has priority. But cloning isn't just about mimicking game mechanics. You gotta clone the smart way to gel with the Chinese culture. And that's why a direct clone of PUBG was not successful. Tencent had to
fuck do you mean
rebrand it as
PUBG wasn't
Game
successful?
for
The
Peace,
mobile
a
PUBG is
patriotic,
huge.
non-violent version to comply with Chinese regulations.
Ah, I
Players
see.
wave goodbye instead of dying, and they emit light instead of blood.
That's
As
insane.
The designer
That is the
lady said,
lamest shit I've
cloning
ever
is
seen.
an art in itself.
That is
Which
the
brings
dumbest
us to
shit
the
I've
next
ever
stage,
seen.
Scaling. Once a cloned game becomes
Bye-bye.
a small hit, the real magic happens, scaling. Put it on mobile, PC, and make it free to play. But not just that, you gotta boost the marketing too. Let's go back to Honor of Kings. Once cloned and culturally adapted, it became the #1 game. And so Tencent threw everything at it. Massive ad campaigns, celebrity endorsements, collaborations with beauty brands to bring in female gamers. Or take Genshin Impact. They didn't just collaborate,
Yes!
they Genshified entire KFCs to reel in mostly male gamers.
All dudes. I'm pretty sure this is like 100% all dudes.
And once it's on every platform and the marketing is rolling, they try to push it globally. But what's working in China doesn't necessarily work abroad. Take Arena of Valor, for instance.
Never heard of it.
It's the Western version of Honor of Kings and flopped internationally
Isn't that just League of
for
Legends?
2 reasons. First, it launched just as the Battle Royale craze took off with Fortnite. Second, it's a game lost in translation. Honor of Kings hooks players with its rich Chinese cultural context,
Never mind.
covering historic heroes to iconic poets. But when Arena of Valor tried swapping in Norse, Greek, and Roman figures, it just didn't click the same way. There just is no shared cultural literacy. And honestly, I'm not sure if throwing Batman or the Joker into the mix is going to change that. In any case, the strategy of monitoring, cloning, and scaling is their way to find their winner-winner chicken dinner. But
Good one.
there's something way deeper at play here. Just when you think cloning is their only ace, they've got another card up their sleeve. Buying out foreign firms. Sure, that's not something specific to China, but there's a catch here. Foreign game studios have to work with Chinese firms to sell their games in China, which means they have to share their profits. And not many foreign companies want to do that, which means less competition and more money for China. And with more money, they can easily buy more foreign studios for some very hefty sums. And with this advantage
Yeah, it's
of being
actually
a
insane
closed
the
market,
financial benefit that China has, where if they have some severe competition with another company, they can just buy them out. Yeah, that's pretty insane. I can see this being a downside for sure. That does not make too much room to be competitive in the space where your company just says, oh yeah, well, I pay to win. I pay to win in real life and I buy everything.
the Communist Party is aggressively buying out
Yeah,
Western
Tencent owns
industries.
everything.
Maybe while Hollywood spread its American values through movies, perhaps it's now China's turn to do the very same, but through games. In a communist state like China, this means everything, including games, is controlled by the state. So while the West tries to ban TikTok, it should perhaps also look behind the scenes of Western game studios that also provide access to millions of personal data points. And so, long gone are the days when you could just pop a cartridge into a keyboard jackie and stay somewhat untraceable. However, this all isn't without its challenges. In China, the gaming community is growing tired of it all, especially
Oh my
of the game
God.
of clones. When The Legend of Neverland came out, a blatant clone of Genshin Impact, gamers were not impressed, and criticism was fierce. And when Plague Inc. was taking down the App Store, because you know why, a Russian
Gibson.
clone appeared, which also faced huge backlash from Chinese gamers who
Dude, Plague
mistook
Inc.
it
was so
as
good.
yet another copycat move. And so the winner-winner chicken strategy might not be cutting it much longer, which is where this game enters the scene. Dubbed China's first AAA game, Black Myth Wukong is their first dab at creating something truly new. But while this game might be setting a new trend in China, it's really just a very lone wolf for now. Ironically, it's inspired by
How is Black Myth Wukong not just ripping Sekiro and Dark Souls? I don't understand.
the Chinese tale Journey to the West, a tale that couldn't be any closer to China's broader intentions. And maybe that's the real lesson here. In the fast-paced world of gaming, cloning and owning games might bring quick success. But the real test will be whether China can create them from scratch.
You can't rip off a genre? How is it not just Sekiro, but now you're a monkey? Am I nuts? Maybe there's more to the game than I thought, but I thought it was just Sekiro, but you're monkey.
Until then, happy cloning.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real. More games equals more better. And these companies are probably pissed off as fuck about this, but I'll be real, I don't care. Sekiro is supposed to be Tenshu. I don't know what the fuck that means. Should I look up what Black Myth Wukong is? Maybe I don't know what it is then. Yeah, China #1. Hey, very good. I love it. I support what they do. Very, very good. Very good.